Hey, welcome back to another episode of Call Her Creator, powered by Stan, your go to podcast for women building bold, profitable businesses online. And today I have a really good treat for you guys. It's one of my really good friends, Meagan Hall. She is a freaking powerhouse content creator, digital product queen, business queen. She's made close to $2 million. At this point, I don't even know how much you've made, Meagan, so we'll get into that. But she made over $1.28 million in just 11 months when she launched her business, which I think is incredible and crazy and awesome. So I was like, I have to get her on the podcast because I need to pick her brain myself. And I know you guys want to pick her brain too. So if you've ever wondered how to turn your reels into revenue or how to build passive income without needing this huge following, or even how to just create a digital product that actually sells, this episode is for you. So let's just get into it. Meagan, introduce yourself, girl.
Yeah, so it's just wild. Like it's crazy when I think about, and you hear this all the time. So it's like, but like you hear these people who literally went from, I don't want to say rags to riches because it's not really what I'm thinking, but who
Mhm.
went from working full-time jobs like as regular people who are like,
Yes.
yeah, I made $1 million on Instagram. Yeah, and I feel like you hear that a lot. So it's become a little bit I don't know, like saturated maybe. You're just like, oh, okay, yeah, everybody's doing it. But it's true. Like I was working a regular job. I was mostly an admin. And then I kind of was working toward project manager, which I was really super proud of. But that's when I started looking online because I just felt like I literally woke up every single day and I was like, what am I doing?
Mm.
Because I was following the same cycle. I mean, I felt I actually have a caption, or I think I posted the caption in a reel yesterday, but I literally felt like I was living Groundhog Day.
Mm.
Like you wake up, you do the same thing every single morning. I barely saw my kid,
Mm.
and it was like I couldn't shake this feeling. I get into this, I talk about it so much because it literally changed my life, but I couldn't shake this feeling that my life was literally supposed to be more. I was supposed to do more, or I
Mhm.
was like meant for more. I couldn't figure it out. And I just was tired of my life being dictated by the need of a paycheck. And so I had no idea what I was doing. I literally had no idea. But I was like, maybe I hear about this on Instagram. Maybe there's some truth to it. Maybe it's real. And that's kind of where it all started.
Mm.
Absolutely insane.
I was kind of in the same boat as you. I had my second baby before I was like, what the crap? Like, I'm working more than I see them, and you're working to pay for childcare. Let's not
Yeah.
forget about that, America. Um, Yeah, so you just like almost for me, I know there was like, did you feel like there was the writing on the wall that was just like, now's the time? Or like, walk me.
No, it was horrifying. It was like, it was so scary because I was extremely skeptical.
Mhm.
Like I was like, there's no way making money online is a real thing. So I started doing all of those. You remember when side hustle videos were like a huge thing and they rocked the internet?
Mhm.
I literally started doing all of them.
Mhm.
And none of them panned out. I was like, well, what the heck? What are they actually doing? Turns out they're doing other stuff. At the time, that was like a huge mess. Like I've learned so much since then. But I was like, okay, they're not making me a lot of money, but they're making some money. I was like,
Mhm.
so what are people doing that's making them the big money that they're talking about? And that's when I kind of got into, I started learning about affiliate marketing, started learning about digital products, the courses. I was like, these people are literally selling information. But when I told my husband what I was doing, and Paige, my sister, was like in the room when I was like, I think I'm going to do this. And they learned that I would have to make content. They were like, you're going to what? And I was like, I know, but something in my gut, it was all intuition. Like it was all intuition and it was a total God thing because I would never have done it myself ever in a million years. Because when I told them that I would have to make content, they were like, you're going to make content because I was always the person who hid from pictures. I was always like, don't get me in the picture. Don't get me in the video. I only had like a handful of family photos before I started creating content. I never allowed myself to get in pictures. And there was a lot of like deep seated stuff that I realized I had to work through. But They were like, "You're gonna create content." And they weren't rude about it. They were just like, "That's not you." And I was like, "Believe me, I know it is not me." But I was also so desperate to get out of that like Groundhog Day cycle that I was like, I'll freaking do anything. I'll make content. And it turned out to be honestly the biggest blessing in my entire life for multiple reasons, for so many reasons. But that's kind of how I ultimately got into it.
I think there are so many people out there. I'm actually was just talking to a friend yesterday. She's like, Kaylin, I'm so desperate to do anything at this point to make money. Like she lost her job last year. So I'm like, girl, start posting your story. Someone out there needs to hear your story, whatever it is you've got going on. Someone out there can use your knowledge on whatever it is and you can monetize on that. So for you, Megan, what was that first like thing that you started to sell? What was was it a digital product?
I honestly hate the way that I got started. It's but I didn't know any better. I had no idea what I was doing. And in hindsight, I'm so grateful that I even started. And I learned some extremely powerful lessons that ultimately led to me building a business that did seven figures. But
Mm,
I started selling, and anyway, I'll tell you. So, you know, the legendary marketer, that whole
yeah.
course that blew up.
Yes.
Yeah, I was a part of the course.
Mhm.
And when I ultimately got started, I was like, for sure, I'm going to learn how to do like affiliate marketing. But through the course, and I don't want to talk like shit about the course, but
Yeah.
you learn that most people are only making their money by selling the course, by
Mhm.
being affiliates for the course. And I was completely new. So I was like, oh, I guess this is what I'm supposed to do. Because they were teaching you how to be affiliates for like ClickBank and JVZoo and stuff like that. And those are just really, they were just really shitty products that nobody wanted to buy. I was like, I don't want to promote that stuff.
Mhm.
But then everybody was selling the course. So I was like, okay, I guess I should sell the course. So I did. And I made a lot of money doing it. Within 5 months, I was able to quit my job. I hit $100,000 in 4 months, and
Did your husband freak out, by the
we
way?
all freaked out. We all completely freaked out. Like $100,000 in 4 months, and I
Wow.
quit my job 1 month later, and I've been doing this ever since. But around then, like once I kind of got into it, I started feeling gross about it. And as I started learning more, I was like, this isn't, I don't think this is what I'm supposed to be doing. Like, I understand that all these other people are doing it, and that's great, but I don't like this.
Mm,
Um, which is when I started kind of creating my own course, and it focused more on actual digital products because I didn't want to sell somebody else's product. But I had started making money while I promoted Legendary with my own products. I started selling a $19 PDF guide that was a guide to rapid digital, or what was it? It was a guide to rapid Instagram growth because I had grown extremely quickly on Instagram and a lot of
tell
people
us
were struggling.
how many followers do you have, by the way?
Right now it's like 300. Actually, I looked this morning, it's 357,000.
Woo, girl.
But I'm losing followers, and that's just part of it, and which is so
Yeah.
I'm going on, which we can talk about, but
Yeah.
I'm okay with it.
Mhm.
Anyway, so I had sold a $19 guide and it was selling really well. And on top of that, I had created a Facebook membership that I was charging $60 a month for people who were trying to grow on Instagram and they
Wow.
just couldn't help it. So they were struggling. So we had a community, just a super easy Facebook group. It was $60 a month. I hosted weekly calls where I was kind of training them on what to do. There was a forum, basic stuff.
Wow.
And that's kind of where it all started. And that's when I absolutely left the course that I started with. And I was like, that's not it. Because I realized so quickly that everything I do in my business depended on how they ran their business. And I didn't like how they ran their business. So
Mm,
when your business, like when you're making money based on somebody else's product, you're making money based on on their morals, on and what they think is like what they think is something somebody wants to know, what they want to teach. And I was like, I don't like it. I don't like that. Plus, if something happened to the company, which ultimately did happen, your
mm,
business is gone like that. And the only way to guarantee that you're going to make money long term and feel good doing it is
yeah.
by creating and selling your own products based on your own experience, your own knowledge, your own values. So that's kind of how it started. And it's like a super long story. lots of ups and downs, but
It's nothing to be ashamed of or embarrassed to talk about either though, Megan, because I think a lot of it, like that's how you get started doing that stuff. I was working for a marketing company, but I did affiliate marketing too, or I guess it was MLM
hmm.
and it was oils and these overpriced freaking oils. But I truly was believing in the power of them. Like I thought they were going to heal my anxiety and all this. Did they? Absolutely not. But I sold a lot. But I still was making pennies doing it and it just didn't feel authentic to me anymore. So I think a lot of you out there listening, just like me and Megan, like you have to start somewhere. You can't be ashamed of that story. You got to talk about it sometimes. But there is a point in your life when you're like, okay, this isn't for me anymore. How can I pivot? And it sounds like so when you went from legendary marketer, what happened next after you were like, this isn't for me?
So the one that was like a huge wake up call for me is when I left, I didn't like resign from Legendary. I just started talking about my own products.
Hmm.
And when they found out, and I didn't, again, I didn't know what I was doing. When I found out, I was in breach of the affiliate contract. There
Oh.
was a clause. It was like, you can't promote anything that conflicts with Legendary's course. And my products obviously did. Without telling me anything, they just revoked my affiliate status. And I still had about 40, somewhere between 40 and $60,000 in affiliate commissions that hadn't been paid out to me yet. And they
Oh.
kept it. So,
What is a year's salary for somebody?
yeah,
Oh.
when I tell you I spiraled that day, I spiraled. I was having crazy anxiety. And our products were still doing okay by then, but I mean, that was a chunk of money that I was expecting to come, and it never did.
You know that happened to a lot more. Has this company dissolved by now? Are they still out
No,
there?
I think they're still active.
Okay. That
But
this is not the first story that I've heard about that happening.
yeah, so it was a mess, and I just kind of kept to myself. I was
Yeah.
like, other people are still very successful with it. I'm not going to bring it up because I
Mhm.
don't want to ruin anything for them. And I was like, maybe this
Yeah.
is a one off, you know. So I just kept to myself, and then found out later that it was happening to more and more people.
Oh.
But by then, my business had grown, and it was because I was selling what felt good to me, what I had learned, and um, and I was really passionate about it. And it was rooted in my experience and my knowledge, which made it even more valuable. So
Mm.
that was,
Mm.
but yeah. So after all of that with Legendary is when the business kind of took off, and we did like 1.2 in 11 months, like insane, absolutely insane.
Insane. And this was all from you. Was this your were you promoting this by Reels or like how were you promoting all of this?
Yeah, so yeah, I was mostly doing this through Reels. I was doing stories, Reels, but it was all part of an ecosystem that we had built. So it wasn't just from Reels straight to the product. It was through freebies, it was through email nurturing, through funnels, through all kinds of stuff.
Mhm.
And it was just building a system that would do it for you. And then it was also taking advantage of cash injection strategies that nurture, educate, and also convert all in one evening, that
Mm.
are repeatable and turn into their own sales asset. So there were a lot of different components that went into it. We learned a lot through the process. But
Mhm.
I'm really glad that you said not don't be ashamed of it, because
Oh.
I honestly have been. Like I've been like, there's such a stigma around it. I I wish that I had gotten started a different way, but I just didn't know.
You did what you thought was right at the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then
So,
when you know better, you do better and then you make better products yourself.
yeah.
So
Yeah, definitely.
it's just what we do. It's what we do. So, okay, you talk about an ecosystem. I need you to break that down for me. What is that kind of what's an ecosystem? There's people out there that are just getting started with this and have no idea what you're talking about.
Okay, yeah, no, good point. So what I call is a free value ecosystem, and this is part of what I teach in my like higher ticket coaching program. And it's
Okay.
really, there's a lot of upfront work, but once you build it, this thing runs on its own. I think when we got into this space, a lot of people bought a course, especially like an MRR course,
Mhm.
and they were like, promise passive income, but they didn't teach you actually how to set up the systems that would make this business truly passive. It's like, hey, buy this course, resell this course, And so nobody really learned how to sell other than setting up a landing page. And the landing page, it just isn't going to convert. There's so many different systems within your ecosystem that you kind of have to build.
Yeah.
And so our free value ecosystem revolves around providing free value, like, and kind of constructing like a journey for them to follow that's nurtured after they enter into your business. So once you deliver a freebie and they give you their name and email, is when you start really nurturing them. You start providing more value, more options for them to enter into a paid product where they, are funneled deeper into your business ecosystem. And once they've made a purchase, it's so much easier to get them to keep buying from you. So your goal is to get them to purchase once, to buy one product. And once you do that, I don't want to say like you've got them, but you kind of got them, because once you deliver on the value in your first product, they know you're going to deliver on the value for every other product that you provide.
Yes.
And it's just a matter of getting them into that free value ecosystem, which is why content is so critically important to your business. Having a good freebie is so important. And then having those systems in place are what ultimately convert. But content is the literal backbone of your business. If you don't make good content, you're not going to sell a product.
1000%. So what's your approach when you sit down to create reels or content for Instagram? Do you have any like go-to formulas or frameworks that you work on to make that happen?
There's one framework that I kind of discovered. I went viral with a reel last October, and I remember it because it like sparked everything.
Wow.
And every time I repost the reel, it gets a million plus views. And I was like, okay, there's something about the structure in this reel specifically. So I literally sat down and studied it, and it was an accident. Like, I made the reel. Of course, it always happens. Like, the reels that you literally throw together go crazy viral.
Yes.
My husband was fishing. We were at the coast, and I was like, oh God, I got to make a reel today. you know, I was like with
Very
my kid. Yeah, there were like goldfish all over the living room, and I was like, oh God, I got to post this reel. So I literally just like stood up and I went and recorded a reel. It took me like 5 minutes, and it went super viral. I was like, why the heck did that go viral? So I like sat down and studied it, and I realized that there was a very specific framework to the reel. And when I took that framework and applied it to other topics, it still goes viral. And
Ooh.
so I was like, okay, this is like a winning formula. It's not something that I do every single reel, but it's something that I definitely sprinkle in like once a week, something like that.
Yes.
And the formula is, and I kind of like wrote this down. This is something I came up in my head. So if y'all think it's weird, I get that. I get this is how I explain it to myself. I didn't see this anywhere. This is just what I was like, oh, this is how I'm going to explain it. But
Yes.
it's a hook to a story or problem awareness or solution to a call to action and then a DM automation.
Okay.
And the topic can be lots of different things, but basically what you do, you always have to have a strong hook. There's no content without a strong hook. And
Agreed.
then what you need to immediately do is go into the story behind the hook, or you want to talk to them about why this hook like is a problem for them. What you want to do is tease a solution, like, hey, I figured out what the problem is, talk about why they need it, but never give them any actual information in the reel, because the goal is to get engagement from it. So
Mhm.
right after that, you're going to be like, comment blank and I'll share the solution with you. And then you have ManyChat immediately send the solution, which is a freebie, which gets them to enter into your ecosystem.
Love it.
But the reason it works so well is because it's obviously a strong hook. It stops the scroll. It piques that curiosity. It makes them want to know what you're talking about. And then it
Mhm.
gets them to trade you their name and email for that information. And it works like a charm every single time.
Can you explain that first one that went viral in October? Like, can you give us an example of what you talked about?
Yeah. So the hook for that one was I'll never have to work a normal day for the rest of my life because I learned how to use 2 easy apps to make money online.
Yes, that is good.
Yeah. And I was like, I had like 3 cups of coffee. I was like, I got to whip out a reel.
Ah,
And it worked.
you. I can agree. Every time I will spend so much time on a reel, but then like I'll come back from Pilates and I will be stinky and gross looking and bad hair, but I'll be like, I gotta say this though. And then I say it and then it pops off and I'm like, why did that one go viral?
I know,
You
I
know?
love that though. I look at your content every single day. Like, there's only a handful of people who I look for every day, and yours is one of them.
You're sweet.
And it's just good content. I
That's
just
how I feel
really
about
like
you.
it.
You lit my inner fire kind of at the beginning of the year. I was just like, I'm so done with this. Nothing's working anymore for me. And I saw one of your reels, and I think I kind of picked up on this framework of, okay,
Mhm.
she's giving a hook, but she's not actually explaining anything. She's telling them to go get this free guide or go get this free something. And so I've started teaching some of our social media clients that too. I have like a nutritionist, and she'll spend so much time making like a 1 minute reel, and it is so valuable. Like it is so good, but I'm like, this is great. And you're teaching them so much, but then guess what? They're done with that reel and it's gone. Like they don't need to get anything from you because you
Ex-
gave it all away.
Exactly. There's like such a fine line with content between providing enough information, but
Hmm.
not so much that they don't need your freebie or your resource.
Yes.
And and I think that like because everybody preaches create, you got to post valuable
Hmm.
content, blah, blah, blah. So they're like, all right, well, let me make a 1 minute reel that's a mini lecture, and it
Yeah.
gives them a shit ton of information, but then they don't need you.
They don't
Um,
need more.
and like you have to remember that your content is top of funnel. This is your advertising.
Yeah.
So yes, educate, yes, be relatable, but remember, like, this is a means to an end too, which is what I teach my students. Like, you're not coming onto Instagram for fun. Like, you're coming in here to make a living.
Hmm.
And so one thing I don't teach is like relatable content. And so many people like hate me for I don't know if they hate me for it, but they're like, gross. You don't teach relatable content.
You're
That's what
right, and you don't post much relatable content,
Mhm. No, I don't.
but I also feel like that's okay because I get so much from you the way that you do it. You know what I mean? Like you don't need to.
Yeah, it's super weird. And it's funny that you bring it up because I do talk about that. I was like, you don't need to come online and share your life story to get people to know, like, and trust you.
Mm-mm.
Um, you just don't have to. Like, there's a way to create content where people don't know what your kid's name is or what they look like or how old they are, but they know you
Right.
have a kid and they relate to you
Yeah.
because of that. Like,
Yeah.
and because the last thing that I wanted to do was come on here and be like, oh, everybody knows where I live, how I live, what my house looks like. I just didn't want that.
Mhm.
And when you're running a business like this, like your lines are already blurred
Mhm.
because your work life is your personal life and vice versa.
Mhm.
And so when you just start creating personal content and posting it every single day, there is no separation.
Mhm.
And I really didn't want that. So I was like, and I teach my students. I have one kid.
There you go. I
Yeah. But
love
I was
that.
like, guys, if you don't want to do that kind of content, don't freaking do it.
Yes. I'm
Um,
weird about that content anyways. Like sometimes I'll have my son pop in reels with me because he
oh,
wants to do it. But other times I'm like, there's also weirdos out there and I don't want people knowing where I live. So I won't tag my location. I won't show my house. Like people don't even that's none of their business.
no,
Um,
no. And
no.
like, I get really self-conscious of the way that I teach this sometimes because I see huge Instagram coaches who are like, be relatable. Let them
Mm,
know where you are. Let them not where you are, but tell them about who you are, what you go through every day. And I'm just like, I don't want to though. I
I
want
love
business to be
that.
business and life to be life.
I love
Um,
that though about you. That's what makes you different though too, Megan, and that's why you're almost at 500,000 followers because you're not following all the guru advice. You're doing
right?
what works for you.
That's such a good point though. I think people forget to do what works for you.
Yeah.
Like they
Yeah.
don't do it. They're like, oh, this person, like they'll listen to me, like, oh, she's got 350,000 followers. She must have the solution. But no, like it was a solution for me. If
Yeah.
you want to post relatable content, post relatable content. If it
Yeah.
fulfills you, everything needs to be about like fulfillment
Fulfill.
and what feels good to you, what works for you. That just
Like,
doesn't work for me. And yeah, as there's weirdos, I don't want to post my kid's face because like I just don't know. Not that
yeah.
anybody's gonna find me in the middle of a field in Texas, but just in case.
I love that. Okay, so we're talking about how, just to backtrack a little bit, we're talking about how there's some people out there that will put everything into the reel. It'll end up being a long reel. So how do we simplify it to make short form content? I know you've got a lot to say, guys, but like you have to simplify it. So how do you break that down, Megan?
That's such a hard thing to do because you're right. Like we do have so much information. We know so much in our heads And it's like, how do I share everything? I think just remember, number one, it doesn't all have to be shared in one piece of content. In fact, the more you have, the better. But I think another way that I thought about it too is to kind of write down, because obviously you're selling a transformation, you're selling an overall goal. So write down step by step what somebody needs to do in order to achieve that overall transformation, that bigger goal. And then
Mm,
go back into each step and write down the micro steps that they have to do to complete this one. And I
mm.
think by that, you have a ton of pieces of content that you can structure that will allow you to teach about your topic, to teach about your transformation, why they need your product. But it allows you to break this down into smaller pieces of content.
Yeah.
Another thing that I learned, and there was actually a reel about this, which I saved it immediately, and I like have this bookmarked in my brain. When you're creating content, you want to teach them why to do it, when to do it, and what to do, but you want to leave the how for when they pay you. And
Oh, yes.
yeah,
I
exactly.
love that. Okay, I need to remember that. I give so much crap out for free that I could
Same. I was
uh,
doing it too. And I realized I wasn't converting because I gave it away for free.
right.
But when you
Right.
structure it, teach them what to do, why to do it, and when to do it. But you leave the how for your product is when you got them.
I love that. I love
I
that. And
know.
that's why you've sold so much money in products because you know what you're doing. So, okay, you've sold over $1 million in digital products. What makes a product sellable in your opinion and not just fluffy talk all the time on Instagram? Like, when are you like, okay, actually, I could make money talking about this in this format?
So it needs to be like actionable, number
Mm.
one. Um, Theory is great, but if somebody buys a product and they leave with a bunch of theory, it feels like a waste of money. And I can say that because I've done it.
Ooh, I
And
like that.
I've spent thousands on theory. And I was like, what the heck?
I'm
What
writing
did I
that
just, yeah, I was like, what did I just spend money on? So what makes our product extremely valuable is when it's actionable. Like they can literally turn around and do something with it.
down.
And theory is great because you need it. Like you need the theory to explain why the strategy works. But if you're selling theory by itself, that's a losing product. And people might buy it initially, especially if you market it well, but they're never going to buy anything from you again.
Right, they're gonna get let down once they do buy it. That's why and even with freebies, Megan, I teach my students all the time, like, your freebie needs to be so absolutely value like, you better put all the freaking things in there because
Guilty.
your freebie is like your gate, and once they're through that gate, that's gonna decide if they're gonna stay with you or if they're gonna leave.
Same. I do the same thing.
Yeah.
And I have people who message me and they're like, I've literally downloaded every single one of your freebies, and they do. I have people who tell me, I knew I was going to buy from you. It was just a matter of time because you provide so much value for free. And
Ooh,
that's the case. Like that's literally true. And there are certain creators that I follow just for their free value up front. And those are the ones that who I may buy from them at some point. Just depends on if it's the right timing and the right product. But
right.
those are the ones who I buy from because I need to see if they actually know what they're talking about.
Yes, same, same. So when okay, say there's a beginner on here that's listening to you and they're probably like, "Dang, Megan's really talking me into this. I want to go sell something." Do you have any advice when it comes to pricing? Because a lot of people are like, "What do I price it at? How much is it worth?"
I like I price with my heart. Like
Yeah.
I don't do a lot of market research, and this is something. So I went to that Stan event, Collab
Mhm.
Fest, a couple weeks ago. Z Slingsby was there, and she's somebody who I've been following, and she was great to hear in person. But something that she talked a lot about intuition,
Mm.
and I'm not saying that you need to only rely on your intuition. Obviously, it needs to be backed by data and experience, but sometimes you need to kind of just let yourself think, what would I pay for this?
Yep.
Like, what would I be happy spending on this product?
Mhm.
And if you want more data for it, you can go and look at other people in your niche and see
Mhm.
what types of products they're selling and how much they're charging for it. That might
Mhm.
just inform what you're doing. But one thing I always do is in my products in a 9 or a 7. And it's just a price,
Same.
yeah, it's a psychological pricing hack that increases the perceived value of the product. And
Yep.
so just send your product in a 9 or 7, you're good to go.
There is research on that, guys. So if you go to my stand store, you'll see some things like 37, 47, 57. Sometimes
Yeah,
I'll do them too. I play around with them, but that is so
gotcha.
funny. Same thing. Um,
Everything, yeah, all of them in a 7 or a 9.
right? It's so funny.
I
Well,
know.
I need to pull the research on that because I'd like to know who even found that out, who discovered
I
that.
know. I don't either.
Okay, how are you currently automating sales or scaling your offers without constantly being online, Megan?
Okay. This is like part of such a bigger conversation.
I know it is. It is. Give us
Oh,
just bits because if they
yeah,
really want to learn this, y'all can work with Megan because she teaches all of this.
you can. I do teach all of it. And I just launched an offer to teach it all. It's insane.
Woo!
But every piece of content you post has to have a purpose.
Yeah.
If you want it to be relatable, fine. But generally for me, every piece of content will either convert to a sale or get somebody to enter into my ecosystem.
Mm.
So when it's converting to a sale, I'll generally talk about the product in my reel. And when they comment the keyword, I send them straight to a landing page. From there, the sales process is automated. If
Love
I'm
it.
sending them to a freebie, they're going to trade me their name and email for the freebie itself. Then they're opted into my free value ecosystem where they're nurtured through email. And I have very specific sequences of emails. So if they purchase in the first 7 days of email, then they're switched into a different sequence that will sell them a higher ticket offer. If
Wow.
they don't purchase in the first 5 to 7 day sequence, they're moved to a long term nurture sequence that will still touch on that low ticket product for a long time. So they
Wow.
don't get rid of me until they unsubscribe. But this is completely automated. So the only thing I have to do to make sales is post content every day, and the rest is completely done, other than just manage your product, on the back end.
Wow.
But if you're not automating your sales, you 100% built yourself another job and not a business. You
That is
have to, you have to have an automation.
that is so true. I need to go look at all of my stuff. I need to sign up for your we'll talk about what she just
Yeah.
launched. But I've already been eyeing it. Like I need to get into that and just you think you
It's
got something going really well, but like you just said, if it's another job for you, and that's where I'm at. It is another job for me.
it
And like,
happened. That was me. That was me. This was all so much trial and error. Like
yeah.
so freaking much. Nothing was automated, and I was like, why am I not making money? Or I was having to convert in my DMs,
Yes.
or I was like trying to post more content to compensate for it, and I was like, it's just not automated.
Yeah.
Like I don't know what I'm missing, and it was literally a back end system, and they don't teach you that in those entry level courses that you buy. This is like systems that
Um,
make your page like an actual passive income business.
money
It's
maker.
crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, let's wrap up some of this with mindset talk for a minute. If somebody's listening right now, they only got 1,000 followers, but they want to make passive income, where do you tell them to start?
With mindset,
Not even with mindset, but just like let's just say they've got 1,000 followers. They're like, I'm ready to make money. Like, what should be their first move?
if you've got 1,000 followers, and I'm going to assume that they're kind of following you for fun at this point, and you want to figure out why they're following you
Mm.
and what kind of information they're looking for from you. So the first thing that I would do is start posting interactive content and literally asking them, like, what if you could learn one thing from me, what would it be?
Ooh,
And
I love that. Would you do that in stories or reels or how would you post
I would
that?
do that in stories. I would
Okay.
definitely do that in stories. And maybe you have like a reel and you say the same thing, but it's a call to action and they DM you, something like that. It's like, hey, I would love to know if there's one thing that I could teach you, like what would that be? And
Mm.
you start there, and that could be a $9 guide. I don't care what it is, but just get your feet wet and start selling to that audience and figure
Yeah.
out what it is. I
Figure
mean,
out
mine was
what.
a $19 PDF.
Yeah. Yeah, my first digital product was a Reels challenge.
Oh,
Trying
that's
to think
good.
how I think mine was $19 too at the time. Um, it was so fulfilling too, when you sell that first thing. I was like, "Is this real life? Did I really
It's
just
this,
sell something?"
and like you literally are building a business out of thin air. which is
Crazy. Yes, and the way, guys, that I knew that that would sell was because I kept getting DMs. "How do I do this in Reels? How do I edit this? How do I find trends?" And I was like, I was so sick of messaging people at the time. I'm like, "I'm just gonna make a guide and push them to that." And then I launched that and made
same.
good amount of money, but what mindset shifts were essential for you to go from just being a creator to $1,000,000 digital CEO?
I've never been a mindset person.
Mhm.
Um, and actually, when I first started, like I've never up until I started this business and I started seeing results. I was typically like a glass half empty person, and I talk
Mm.
about this a lot because I never liked to get my hopes up. I never liked to be disappointed. So when I started this business, I was still like, well, let's see what happens. It could amount to nothing. I just didn't want to put in all the work and effort for it not to go anywhere. But and this is a story that I tell often because I mean, I'll never forget it. But one day when in the early days when I was just starting, I was still working a full-time job and I was working remotely out of my bedroom here, and it was super cramped. We have a small bedroom. We're building an addition right now, but
Woo.
super cramped, tiny desk. I was working 40 hours a week as, admin slash project manager, and watching these courses while I was supposed to be working, which I felt guilty about then. I don't feel guilty about that now.
Good.
But I like stepped out into this tiny hallway outside of our bedroom, and my husband was there. And I was like, isn't it going to be so crazy if this takes off? And I literally stopped myself right after I said that. And I said it again. And I said, isn't it going to be so crazy when this takes off?
Yes.
Um, and that was the first time I had ever been like an optimist. That was the first time I had ever given myself permission to be hopeful.
Mm.
And it changed everything. I literally got "when" tattooed on my arm
Oh my
because
gosh.
it changed everything. And recently I've been relying on that so heavily still. You think that that was the only time that I would need it, but still, like with launching this new offer, still full of doubt. Like these systems obviously work. This is going to change the game for so many creators, but I was still like, who's going to want to buy an expensive coaching program from me? They've only ever bought low ticket from me. There's so many other more established creators who they could, buy from if they wanted. But I
You
was just,
are the established creator. You are the girl that knows all of this, Megan. Just want to
well,
whack you
you just like,
sometimes.
you just never, it takes a long time. It's a lot of self work
Yeah.
getting through especially coming from like a business where, a 9 to 5, but you were trained your whole life is what you were supposed to do. Working for
Yes.
somebody else, somebody else is going to tell you what you're worth. Somebody else is going to kind of
Mm.
dictate how you spend the rest of your life. And so shifting into building your own business and honestly calling all the shots and deciding what's possible for you is a
Oof,
huge shift in your mindset, and it takes constant work. So
it
in my
does.
program, I don't teach mindset. I will teach the stuff that I went through.
Mhm.
But somebody messaged me the other day and was like, "Hey, do you teach mindset?" And I was like, "No, dude, because I'm still learning." I was like,
Yeah.
"No." And I'm
Yeah.
not going to sit here and pretend like I'm an expert in mindset, but I'm telling you, this little tattoo has like saved me on days when I'm spiraling and I'm like, dude, is this gonna work? Like, what am I doing? And
Yeah.
I was like putting dishes in the dishwasher the other day and I was like in a little spiral. And I saw my tattoo and I was like, get a hold of yourself. You literally got that permanented on your arm for a
Yes.
reason.
Yes. I
um
I'm I don't know much about mindset either, but even though I read a bunch of self-help books, um, but one thing I am big on is speaking it into existence and talking about it. So you saying, "Isn't this gonna be crazy when it takes off?" Like, that's me. I'll
yeah.
catch my kids trying to say stuff, and I'm like, "Mm-mm, we don't talk like that." Like, don't even put those negative things out into existence. You speak positively about yourself, about your business, whatever it is. So I love that. I relate
Well,
to you
it's
on
a
that so
hard
much.
thing to do.
It is hard. It's
It's
hard to believe in yourself.
yeah, it really is.
Especially when you are constantly comparing yourself on
Oh my
social. We live in the worst job where we have to scroll through Instagram all the time and see all these amazing things happening for others, which I genuinely get excited for people, but I am so competitive sometimes. It just
oh,
to me sometimes, but I think
oh.
that's human.
No, yeah, I mean, super happy for them because 'cause they're doing the same thing. No, I
Yeah.
told you, I was like, I don't know if I told you or not, but like when I was at the Stan event, Collab Fest, I had like a hard spiral. It was bad. It was,
Mm,
I was being so hard on myself that day, and I was sitting in a room full of like crazy successful people,
mhm.
and Z and Kamaria and Sarah and a bunch of people, just a bunch of business owners, and they had like talked like they had it figured out, and they were
Yes.
so confident. And it was when I was trying to launch this offer, and I really just spiraled. I was like, I don't think I know what I'm doing, and like literally in this room full of 200 plus creators, and I have the success, but I was like, I don't think I know what I'm doing. And I called my husband and I was like, look, I don't know. I don't know if I'm cut out for this. I was like, I don't know if I need to go back to work. I don't know if I need to get a normal job again. And he was great. He sent me a super long, just crazy, really sweet message and stuff. But you have those days even when you have the success behind you. Like
Oh, I
it's
wanna burn my business down all the time, and my husband's like, "Will you just stop? Let's get to
yeah,
next week." And then I'm fine again.
same. I've been like, what am I doing? So many times.
That's
So
so
many
good.
times.
Not that I want you to feel that way, but it is good to hear that I'm not alone with those things.
No,
Yeah,
no.
we
I
go
don't
through it.
I don't know how people go about their business and they're so confident all the time. Like,
Right.
I'm so good at this. This is gonna be a bomb product.
Oh, I
Like,
wish I could live that way.
I know, like, oh,
Ugh,
one day maybe I'll be like that, but not right now.
not right now, not right now. All
So
right, let's wrap it up with some fun rapid fire questions, okay?
oh,
Lazy marketing tip. You got a lazy marketing tip?
oh god. Yeah, repurpose your best piece of content into a carousel.
Boom. That's like a great marketing tip too. It
Yeah,
is quote unquote lazy, but we do it all the time here.
yeah,
For our when we're like overloaded with clients, I'll be like, get in a metrical and see what our best performance was and just repost it. So cool.
100%.
I love it too.
Yeah.
I already know your answer to this, but best platform to sell digital products.
I love Stan Store. There are
Sta-
actually 2. I love Stan Store and I like Kajabi.
Oh,
But
okay. Okay. I know
but
Kajabi is good, but Kajabi a little bit harder to maneuver, do you feel like? Yeah.
yes. Yeah.
Mhm.
So if you're just starting out, go with Stan Store.
Yeah.
I freaking love that group.
No. They're
I love
awesome.
them so much.
They're the best.
And I
The
love
whole
the product. I've used
Me
it
and
since
Megan
I started.
right, same, same. Me and Megan got to go to the $1,000,000 mastermind last summer together with Stan, and it was just they treated us like freaking royalty,
Yeah.
and everyone on that team is so positive and happy, and they genuinely want you to rule the world, and they do
Dude,
whatever they can to help you do it.
they seriously, which is why I flew out to LA for 24 hours just to go to Collab
But
Fest, because I love those people and they're literally committed to your success. Like you'll
yes,
never have another team who is as committed as Stan Store is to actually to their creators.
amen. I believe that. One thing, this isn't even fun. This is probably hard for you, but if you had to do one thing differently if you were starting over today, is there anything that you would have done differently? And it's okay if you don't do anything differently.
I want to say that I would have started on my own and just been like, I'm going to start selling digital products. But it's
Yes.
not what I did. Um, and I had to learn the hard way. If I had started selling my own digital products first, I would have been so much further along by now. But I didn't
Yeah.
do that. I was
Same.
relying on somebody else's business
Yeah.
to build my own, which was a huge mistake. So
My
definitely
biggest
start.
regret is not starting sooner, like not selling sooner.
Oh God, yeah, yes. I even think about like what took me so long to get into this. Like, how did I not know about this opportunity sooner?
Right?
But I think timing is huge, and I think that it happened at a time when I was ready for it emotionally,
Amen.
and I think it was just a God thing. It was all God's plan, and so it didn't
Amen.
happen sooner because I needed to go through some really tough stuff before I was able to really commit to this. And if I
Yeah.
hadn't gone through that, who knows? I might not have committed to this as much as I did, and it wouldn't have become
Amen.
this thing.
I agree. I love
Yeah.
that. Whew. Okay. This was so good. Little fire. Huge, huge, huge thank you, Megan. Thank you, thank you, thank you for just being so generous with your insights and your knowledge. You are just proof that anyone can change their life by deciding to do it. So like, tell us, Megan, how people can work with you. Tell us about this new offer that you're launching. Tell us all the things.
Yeah, I have a brand new offer, and it's a coaching program. It's not for beginners, I'll be honest. This is for people who have already started creating and selling their digital products. They've already made some money, but they're not making maybe what they thought they were going to be. Their sales are pretty manual right now, and they want the automations and the systems that will truly sell for them, because that's a real thing. Passive income is a real thing, but it's not what we were told it was. It's systems and automations that you do build once and you refine and they just run for you. Your job should be posting content, and then your business sells for you. So I created a program all about the foundations of running an online business, content, messaging, your systems, everything. And I kind of coach you along with it. And it's a 6-month program, and I help you build your entire back end based on how I've structured my business.
Oh,
So you're going to get everything. You're going to get the plug and play. You're going to get the theory, you're going to get the action items, and you're going to get templates. So you don't really have to like sit and think about it. Plus you're going to get the AI bot that my sister and I trained and built for the last 6 months. That's
wow.
literally all how to, it's everything that we know about building a business. It's us in a little AI bot.
I love that. What's it called? What's the offer called?
Oh, it's called She Scaling. Uh,
She's Healing. And they
yeah,
can find it by going to your Instagram. Tell us your Instagram name or your website, whatever,
I
however.
actually don't have this up because it's a brand new offer, and it's you have to, like, it's you have to be ready for it. I'm not going to let you in if I don't feel like, I'm not going to take your money and help you if I don't feel like you're at the right point for it.
You got to
So
apply.
if you're interested, just DM me Scale, or just DM me in general, and we'll talk about it. But the whole goal is to really scale your business and take this like to the levels that you really want it to be and you thought it was going to be.
I
So
love it. Okay.
yeah,
I'm going to
that's
put
everything.
Megan's Instagram in the show notes so everybody can go visit her. She's got a bunch of other things too. If you are a beginner, she's got things for you. If you got me over here, I need someone to figure out my systems for me. I talk about it, but at the end of the day, like my ADHD, I just need someone to be like, here's what you need to do.
It
You're
happened.
overcomplicating it, Caitlin. Yeah. So
It's so easy to do that. I get it.
yeah. So awesome. Well, you've been amazing. Thank you for sharing your knowledge. This was great. And I just want you to get everything out of life that you ever wanted, Megan, because you're such an incredible person. Thank you for being here.
I don't take compliments very well, but thanks.
I know she's over here. If you're listening, she's over here covering her face. So that's
I
just how
know.
it is. She's so funny.
But
You're the
but
best.
thanks for having me. This was super fun.